17 already of the fantasy baseball season. Here's a few pitchers I looked at this week. The first guy, Irvin of the Oakland Athletics. I've mentioned Irvin a lot over the last 3 or 4 weeks here, but he's going out there and he's getting the job done for the Oakland A's and fantasy owners. But it's very surprising to me he's still out there in 65% of fantasy leagues on the season here for Irvin. Very solid on a very poor Oakland A team. 115 in a third, 6-8 record, 99 hits. 39 runs, 23 walks, 78 strikeouts, 11 quality starts, 3.04 ERA, and a 1.06 whip. And over the last few weeks here for Irvin, a 2.77 ERA and a 1 whip in the few weeks. 13 innings, 1-1 record, 10 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 Ks, 2 quality starts. So he's going out there, and he's been one of the only bright spots here for this Oakland Athletic team. I know I mentioned him as a sell-high guy, but he's still way out there in too many leagues at 45%. Honestly, he should be owned in at least 70% of leagues. The last few games here for him, July 22nd versus Texas, 7 innings, got the win. 3 hits, a run, a walk, 8 Ks, a quality start. July 27th versus Houston, 7 innings, got the win. 4 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality start. And August 2nd at the Angels, who he's versing here tonight. Once again, August 2nd, 6 innings, got the loss. 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. So Irvin's gone out there 6 games in a row with a quality start. He's pitching good baseball. And that AL West, besides the Houston Astros, there's not that many good teams here in that division. The Angels aren't that good. Texas, they're hit or miss. Seattle, they're pretty decent at hitting. But besides that, not much to be that intimidated about for opposing pitchers. And right now, Irvin, he's going out there, and he's been one of the better starters over the last month of the season. I would definitely give him an ad. He's got to be owned in more leagues. I'm going to keep talking about him until he's up to 65, 70% owned in leagues. The next guy's Reid Detmers of Los Angeles Angels. So one of the only bright spots in another bad season here for the Angels is Detmers. On the season, 89 innings, 4-3 record, a no-hitter under his belt, 62 hits, 34 runs, 31 walks, 82 strikeouts, 5 quality starts for Detmers on the year, 3.44 ERA, a 1.04 whip. But over the last few weeks here, he's been untouchable almost, his Detmers. 19 innings, 2-0 record, 12 hits, 2 runs, 6 walks, 25 Ks, 2 quality starts, and 0.95 ERA and 6 whips. So right here, Detmers, he's gone out there, and he's been unhittable, like I mentioned. Only 2 earned runs in the last few weeks here, and he's pitching great baseball for this Angel team. Like I mentioned, that they're in a weak division, but besides that, they got nothing going for themselves this season. July 24th at Atlanta, 5 innings, got the win. 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks in that one. July 31st versus Texas, 7 innings, no decision. 3 hits, a run, 3 walks, 12 Ks, and a quality start. August 6th at Seattle, 7 innings, got the win. 6 hits, a run, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality starts. At Detmers, 4 out of 5 last outings, quality starts. Pitches in a pretty weak division besides Houston and Seattle for the most part. And he's a lefty, which is pitching good baseball as well, which we don't see a lot of good lefties in the league anymore. And also, plus, he's a former top prospect for this Angel team. So right now, still available in 46% of fantasy leagues. One of the hottest pickups of the week, though, added in 26%. And Detmers, if he's out there on your waiver wire, fantasy owners definitely should go out there and get him right now before it's too late. The next guy, José Quintana of the St. Louis Cardinals. So the Cardinals made a deal for Quintana at the deadline. And for your 4th or 5th starter, I think it's pretty solid, especially in the National League here. And a weak division as well in the NL Central. Only Milwaukee, the only competition really here for this Cardinal team. On the season, 109 innings, 3-5 record, 101 hits, 41 earned runs, 33 walks, 96 Ks, 6 quality starts, a 3.39 ERA, and a 1.23 whip. But over the last few weeks here, 11 2/3, 5 hits, a run, 4 walks, 11 Ks, a quality start, 0.77 ERA, and an 0.77 whip. So he's gone out there, and he's pitching great baseball here as Quintana. To go from a losing situation to a team that has a chance to win in their division here is a great one. And they're getting going as well. They're just coming off a sweep of the New York Yankees. So the Cardinals here, they're primed and ready for a second half run here in a playoff push. And Quintana definitely could be a guy that can help him. The last few outings here for him, July 29th, 5 2/3 in that one. 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 Ks. in that game. And August 4th versus Chicago in his Cardinal debut. 6 innings, got 1 hit, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 Ks, a quality start. So right now, next outing's August 10th at the Rockies. Obviously, it's going to be tougher out there in Coors Field, where the ball obviously carries with the in Colorado air and all that. But right now, a lot of owners have gone out there and added him in 16% of fantasy leagues. But he's still surprisingly available as Quintana in 64% of fantasy leagues. So right now, with him on St. Louis, it definitely gives him a boost here. And he's definitely a guy that can help fantasy owners as a back-end rotation guy who's on a winning team and a guy who's been good with ERA and solid this season pitching. The next guy, Edward Cabrera, the Miami Marlins. So we haven't seen much of Cabrera this season dealing with injuries. Right now, available in 64% of leagues. On the season, 20 2/3, 2-1 record, 10 hits, 6 runs, 12 walks, 23 strikeouts, 2 quality starts, a 2.61 ERA, and a 1.06 whip. So right here, in a small sample size, Cabrera's look good for this Marlin team. We know this Marlin team's out of it this season here. I know Cabrera, he got bombed in June in his last outing, but in his return here, August 5th at Chicago, 5 innings in that one, 3 walks, 8 Ks. So he's got upside striking out guys. He's a guy that could go out there and give you some solid innings. And like I mentioned, the Marlins, I know they're in a tough division with the Mets, Braves, and Phillies, all teams over 500 with good hitting lineups. But right now, the Marlins, they're going to throw the kids out there and see what they got. And I think Cabrera, like I mentioned, a former top prospect in the system and a guy who can help fantasy owners at the back end of their rotation, isn't a bad ad this week, in my opinion. So right now, I would go out there and get him. And if he fizzles out or he can't get the job done, you just drop him. But as a guy with upside and great potential to help you in a playoff push or even in the playoffs, I would give him an ad this week for fantasy owners. Next guy's Kyle Gibson of the Philadelphia Phillies. So Gibson, it's been an up and down type of season, but he's turned things around just like this Philly team has over the last month, 2 months of the season. 115 2/3, 7-4 record, 103 hits, 56 runs, 32 walks, 88 Ks, 11 quality starts, a 4.36 ERA, 1.17 whip. But over the last few weeks here, Gibson's turned it up a little bit here. 14 innings, 2-0 record, 6 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 8 Ks, 2 quality starts, a 1.93 ERA, and an 0.64 whip. So right now, he's still available in 63% of fantasy leagues. And I know some of the matchups have been pretty easy for him, but this Philly offense, they're a legit offense in my opinion, even though it could be all or nothing at times. And pitchers like Gibson, Wheeler, Noah Syndergaard, and obviously Nola, their pitchers in the rotation are going to get run support and get chances to win as long as they go out there and pitch decent. July 22nd versus the Cubs, bad ball game, 4 1/3, got the loss, 6 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks in that one. July 27th, though, versus Atlanta, 6 innings, got the win, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. And August 5th versus Washington, 8 innings, got the win, 2 hits, a run, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality start. So Gibson, 4 out of the last 5 outings, he's gone out there with a quality start, even though I know he's versed teams like Miami, Washington, and the Cubs, one of the worst teams in the National League here. But Gibson, he's going out there getting the job done. August 11th is his next outing versus that weak Miami Marlin offense. And right now, I would just ride the hot hand with him. And if he fizzles out as well, you drop him back to the waiver wire. But right now, with this Philly team playing pretty decent and Gibson having favorable matchups, this is a good time to go out there and get him this week. The next guy is Jonathan Hernandez of the Texas Rangers. So Hernandez, he came up a couple weeks ago here, and now it looks like he's the new man in line for some saves for this Ranger team. On the season, only 7 innings, 2 saves, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks, a 2.57 ERA, and a 1 whip. So right now, Hernandez available in 88% of fantasy leagues here. This Ranger team obviously going nowhere this season, and they're seeing if they got a closer of the future right now with Hernandez. After Barlow's struggled over the last few weeks and they've been going closer by committee, they went to Martin. I think Martin got hurt, and now they go to Hernandez here, and they want to see what he has. So right now, if you need a second or third closer, I think Hernandez is a decent ad this week. The Rangers, they could get him a save or 2 a week here, opportunities. And it just, you got to see if he's going to take advantage of it and play good baseball. So right now, Jonathan Hernandez available in 88% of leagues. I'd give him an ad this week. The next guy, Ian Kennedy of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Kennedy, a veteran in this league, no doubt about it, coming up with the Yankees about 15 years ago already here. So on the season for Kenny, 36 and a third, 4-5 record, 6 saves, 32 hits, 13 runs, 14 walks, 34 Ks, 3 blown saves on the season for Kennedy, a 3.22 ERA, a 1.27 whip. But over the last few weeks here, he's been getting more save opportunities. 7 2/3, 1-1 record, 2 saves, 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 7 Ks, a blown save, 2.35 ERA, and a 0.52 whip. So right here, they said they're going to go closer by committee over there in Arizona. Well, Melanson's struggling mightily this season. But Ian Kennedy, he's getting those first opportunities, saving ball games, and he's getting the job done. So right now, if you need a closer, he's available widely in 89% of fantasy leagues. And just like Hernandez, if you need a second or third closer on your roster, Kennedy is a guy you could get, and you could get some cheap saves this week and for the future, hopefully, by picking him up. The next guy, Jesús Luzardo of the Miami Marlins. So Luzardo, he came back off of injury as well, and he looked good in his return on the season. 1 innings for Luzardo. 4 record, 22 hits, 15 earned runs, 17 walks, 52 strikeouts, and 3 quality starts. So Luzardo here, he's a guy that we know has a lot of upside. We know last season at the trade deadline, the Marlins traded for him, I believe, in the Starlin Marte deal. So right here, the last couple outings for him, August 1st in his return. 5 innings, got the loss versus the Reds. 3 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks. And August 7th at Chicago, 7 innings, got the win. A hit, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. So right here, major upside. He's a lefty. And like I mentioned, the Marlins, they're going with these kids now in the rotation. They're obviously out of it, and they want to see what they got in the future with this rotation. But right here, I think the future looks bright if they could keep their guys. Obviously, you got Alcantara, you got Pablo Lopez, Edward Cabrera, Braxton Garrett's pretty good, Jesús Luzardo. So that's a decent core of guys right now. And Luzardo's going to get an every 5th day chance here for this team. So right now, only available in 47% of fantasy leagues, here's Luzardo. But if he's out there in your fantasy leagues, I definitely would go out there and get him, like I mentioned, with the upside. And he's going to start every 5th day. The next guy, Graham Ashcraft of the Cincinnati Reds. So right here, we know the Reds, one of the worst teams in the league, not scoring a lot of runs for their pitchers. But Graham Ashcraft, he's been a pretty decent pitcher this season. On the season here, 79 2/3, 86 hits, 36 earned runs, 19 walks, 52 Ks for Ashcraft, a 3.0 ERA, and a 2.7 whip. So right here, he's gone out there and he's pitched some decent baseball. Not the greatest outings, but very serviceable. And I know it was versus the Marlins 2 out of the last 3. July 28th versus the Marlins, 6 2/3, 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks, a quality start. August 2nd in Miami, 8 1/3, got the win in that one. 5 hits, 3 Ks, and a quality start. And August 7th at the Brewers, 5 2/3, the Reds ended up winning that ball game 4-2. But a no decision for Ashcraft. 4 hits, a run, 2 walks, 3 Ks. So right here, Ashcraft, 2 out of 3 last outings, quality starts. Another young guy on a bad team here that's going to get an opportunity every 5th day. And right now, he's widely available in tons of fantasy leagues at 85%. So if you need a guy for the back end of your rotation, I think Ashcraft's a decent ad, and I would add him this week. And the final pitcher I look to add is Justin Dunn of the Cincinnati Reds. So Dunn, a former first-round pick of the New York Mets many seasons ago, will get his first start of the season here versus the New York Mets in his Cincinnati Red debut. So right here, they traded for him from the Seattle Mariners in the offseason. So last season, 50 1/3, only 1 3 record for Dunn. 37 hits, 21 earned runs, 29 walks, 49 strikeouts last season. And the ERA was actually pretty good for Dunn on the year. 3.75 ERA and a 1.31 whip. So right now, I know it's a tough outing versus the Mets, but the Reds, another team with young guys who have some upside, are going to be starting the remainder of the season like the Miami Marlins. So right here, if you want to take a flyer on him in the deepest of leagues, he's available. He's Justin Dunn in 99% of leagues, and I believe he'll be pitching every 5th day for this team, especially they got nothing to play for, and they want to go for the youth movement here, Cincinnati, to see what they got for the future. So that's a few pitchers I look to add here off the wire in Week 17 of the fantasy baseball season.